Hi guys, I thought I would come on here and update you guys. We're all very exhausted and tired, but I know that my kids are happy to have me back. It's a little bit kind of anxious here at home just because I'm not with my dad 24/7, but I know you kind of can't be. The update is he is home. He's at his house, resting a lot. The kind of scary thing that happened was I told you guys that his heart was functioning at 20%. Doctors called him this morning and said they made a mistake. It was only functioning at 10%. So you can only imagine what that did. Just totally has freaked us out because he should not be here. But he is, and we're super grateful for it. My poor mom is in a lot of pain with her hip, and so she can only do so much helping him out. But luckily, we have family and stuff that are helping out. Hi, Nick. Another thing is he's on a lot of medications. Some of them are to help his heart and blood not clot, and also diuretics because he has congestive heart failure and AFib. And so he's very limited on how much he can drink because with congestive heart failure, that if you drink a ton, you're just drowning yourself. So he's used to drinking a lot, and now he's going to have to learn to drink less because we're always told the opposite, right? And then so he has to take tons of medications. He's not super excited about that. Most likely, he'll have to be on these medications the rest of his life. The doctors seemed hopeful that they think within the next 2 months, the medications he's on will help him get enough of the fluids out of him to help with the congestive heart failure. One really, really good thing that did happen, what was it, Thursday at 2 a.m, his heart went out of AFib, which they were really shocked about, which means that his heart is kind of staying steady, because before when he was laying down, his heart was racing at like 110 to 130, 40. And that's really that's overexertion. If you were exercising, you wouldn't even be that high necessarily. So it's super, super scary, but it's gone down. Of course, when we're at home, we don't know what his heart rate's going to be. They told him to follow the signs of if he gets dizzy, if he gets out of breath, if he starts having pains, then we need to rush him back in the hospital. I'm super anxious just because we don't have that 24/7 monitoring of doctors helping my dad, and I can't be at their house 24/7 to help because I have kiddos that need me here at home. So anyways, that's some good news, and then some really scary news. We've said a lot of prayers. We have a lot of people praying, and we just gotta keep our fingers crossed that my dad's gonna pull through. One thing I wanted to share with you really special, so don't hop off. This is really amazing. So you guys, and this has to do with my dad's, but we've had many miracles happen, and one of the miracles that I feel like I've been able to take a part in is, so for about a year when I started my trauma therapy, I went through a phase where my parents triggered me really, really bad. And I have always had a really, really good relationship with my parents. Out of all the siblings, I'd say I'm probably the closest. I'm the youngest. And we would go out to movies all the time. I called my mom every single morning, every single day, told her anything and everything. And I kind of lived in the little child mode of just relying on my mom for everything. I told her everything that happened with, my relationship, the kids. Well, when I started going through therapy, I got so triggered. My brain told me that my parents were unsafe. And I know this seems really crazy, but please stay on and listen. This is super, super special. So I went completely brokenhearted because it really screwed up the relationship I had. And my mom would go with me to my doctor's appointments for my trauma. But one day my therapist said, hey, I think you'll get further along if you don't have anybody come with you. Well, that put some hurt feelings with my mom and made it to where we like pretty much stopped talking. We do the business together, but that's about as far as our relationship would go. And so going from being super, super close to my parents to like pretty much nothing at all, I, like, even with the business, instead of asking me questions, she'd ask my friends, and nothing that there's wrong with her, but our lives just kind of went separate ways. And I was always really scared to talk to her about it. Long story short, things just continued to get worse with our relationship. And I kept having this strong feeling inside that I needed to reconnect and tell them about what I was feeling inside, because I felt like if I didn't say something, something might happen to where I would regret it, and maybe one of my parents would pass away, and then I would live with that guilty feeling the rest of my life, feeling like I should have made ends with with my parents. And so I tried several times to have talks with them, and they never went the direction that I wanted. And so that really made things hard and just totally broke my heart. And so a couple weeks ago, my parents had asked if we wanted to go out to dinner, and I was terrified, sadly to say, to go out to dinner with my parents. I had those triggers that came up saying, this is not safe, this is not right. I mean, they're my parents. Why would I think that and feel that way? And that's a whole nother live I can do another time. And so my husband's like, we need to sit down and have a talk with him. Well, that feeling kept coming stronger and stronger in my heart that, Lisa, you need to make things right with your parents because something bad is going to happen. And part of me was just like, oh, that's just my brain telling me weird things. Nothing's really going to happen. But the feeling kept coming stronger and stronger and stronger, until to the point I just had a gigantic panic attack and crawled up in a ball in my office and just started sobbing. My husband came in and he says, I feel like it's time to talk to your parents about it. They're getting ready to come pick the kids up to take them to dinner, because I told them that I didn't have time to go when really I was too scared to go with them. And they sat in here and we had a talk with him. At first it wasn't going very well, I felt. Then all of a sudden things shifted, and before I knew it, we kind of understood each other, and we stood on the same grounds as each other, and a miracle happened. It was like the energy and everything in the room was completely changed, meaning the feelings that we had towards each other, the anger, the upset, any resentment, any pain, any fear, completely vanished and went away. And I'd been holding on to these feelings for over a year. Well, I didn't know that my dad was having health issues since October of last year. That he'd have these breathing fits and he would almost pass out. My parents didn't tell me this because I wasn't close to them. All of a sudden, my mom's like, we're going to be having to go into the doctors, and keep in mind her hip is so bad she needs a hip replacement. And she's like, and we just kind of bypass that. Anyways, fast forwarding a couple weeks later, so this week, my mom said to me, she says, our relationship really just molded. It was so crazy at how fast, a whole entire year of really big heartache for both sides, to us wanting to be with each other and me loving on them and stuff. And I think God really knew that relationship needed to be mended and molded, because Tuesday this week, my mom made it sound like, a simple procedure, no biggie. But she says, would you mind coming with me to take your dad in for some tests for his heart? Didn't quite understand it. learned it real quick that my dad was pretty much on death's door. And right then I had this strong feeling come to me that, Lisa, you had a feeling and a prompting to know ahead of time that you needed to make things right with your parents. Because, and what I'm saying to you guys now is life is really short, and we don't know how long our time is here on earth. We don't know when we're going to lose someone, or when us ourselves are going to pass on. And so what I'm telling you now is if you're having a hard time forgiving someone, or you're holding grudges, or somebody's having a hard time forgiving you, or whatever it is, don't sit there and focus on it, because we're missing out on time. We have a very short amount of time here on earth. And I'm so absolutely grateful. I was given this prompting, this feeling, and I acted upon it. And I didn't just, think, okay, it's no big deal, not going to do anything about it, because I've tried before and the conversations I had with them didn't work. And I was able to spend the whole entire week at the hospital. My husband took care of my kids. They were able to get themselves home from school. Everything was taken care of so that I could spend 24/7 with my dad and my mom and be able to rekindle that relationship with them. We don't know what's going to happen to my dad. We have a feeling that things will go, better and well, but I now have that peace in my heart that I made amends. We both apologized. We both made things on a better note. And so to end this live and the update and the special thing I just told you, just keep in mind the things that you need to mend in life. It's not as hard as we think just to apologize and say we're sorry, because the outcome from it is so much better. And sometimes we might not have the outcome that we've wanted, but broken hearts can be mended, and we want to do it before it's too late, not wait until something really hard or scary happens. So anyways, thanks for coming on and watching, and keep my dad in your prayers. I'd appreciate it.